Yesterday, the US attacked and seized an Iranian flagged cargo vessel. Today, we see Iran seizing, we're not sure if it attacked, but it did seize at least two cargo vessels, container ships, that is, Panamanian flagged and Liberian flagged, as they uh, sailed through its EEZ. So, is this the start of a new tanker war, kind of like the one we
Motor vessel
saw in the
Touska, motor
1980s
vessel
during the
Touska.
Iran-Iraq war,
Vacate your engine
when
room.
Saddam Hussein
Vacate
started
your engine
attacking
room.
Iranian
You are prepared
tankers,
to
thinking
subject
that
crew to
by doing
disablingly
so,
fire.
Iran would attack its own tankers, which in turn would force the international community to come to Iraq's aid and break the stalemate. That didn't work out as planned. Well, right now we see the Strait of Hormuz. It's still not really functioning as it was before the US-Israeli attack on Iran. Iran is limiting traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, forcing any vessel passing through to pass through its own territory. Well, might makes right in today's world. At least that's what it seems like. Seems like with the coming of U.S. President Trump, a lot of other countries are kind of adopting this type of approach to resolving their international issues or some type of strategic objectives, either tactical or strategic objectives. Nonetheless, Iran is seeking to control the Strait of Hormuz. Now, if that's good or bad, correct or incorrect, that's not for me to judge. I'm here just doing a geopolitical analysis of what's going on. That's, for countries to judge whether it's in their interests or not. But nonetheless, the US started its uh, counter blockade, which is on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz in the Arabian Sea, with at least 12 or 13, I think, guided missile destroyers. Some of them deployed from Japan, some from Hawaii, some from mainland US, and others from actually that area right there. Another from Bahrain, actually, with the fifth Navy fleet that's there to protect the actual Strait of Hormuz, but they're on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz. So we have the US doing a counter blockade. We have Iran limiting on their side. The US is seeking to seize any vessels that pass through Iran's side of the Strait of Hormuz, which is the only area that vessels can actually pass through is through Iran's side. So U.S. is seeking to seize all of these, trying to delegitimize Iran's control of the Strait of Hormuz, while Iran is doing the same, but with different vessels. Today we saw Iran take seizing. We don't know exactly how they seized. There isn't specific information about this right now on open sources, but they seized two cargo vessels, two container vessels. Both of them, one of them was leaving from the Emirates to India, and the other was from Dammam, Saudi Arabia, passing through to Sri Lanka. Both of them were, they're big container vessels, and they were stopped. And you can see they made basically a U turn, turning around near Iran's coast, inside Iran's EEZ. I don't think they're within Iran's territorial waters, but nonetheless, Iran is really pushing to control the waters around that area, and they did take control of these. What's interesting is that these two vessels that were taken control of, they had ties with Israel. So that follows another logic. That is, remember the Houthis, when the Houthis, to support the Palestinians in Gaza, starting November 2023, they started attacking any vessel, any maritime vessel, tanker, cargo ship that they perceived or confirmed was related or served Israeli ports or somehow linked to Israel or any other country that serves Israel or supports Israel. So they started attacking hundreds of ships there. Well, this time, these two vessels that Iran took today, seized today, both of them had ties with Israel. One of them, the MSC Francesca, called at Israeli ports. The ship itself had not called, but if you go on the website, you can clearly see that logistics company itself does serve Israeli ports in Haifa and a couple other, I think one or two other ports there. So you see clearly right there, open sources. You don't need a big intelligence body to figure out if this vessel is linked to Israel or not. There you have it right there. So this one ship was linked to Israel, while the other ship, a Greek operator, it had in its fleet at least 2 or 3 vessels that did call at Israeli ports. Now, to call at a port means basically to go to a port, load, unload, to serve, get served there. So the Greek company had within its fleet several tankers that did call at Israeli ports. That one vessel that was seized by Iran, I wasn't able to confirm if that actually called at an Israeli port in the past, but nonetheless, having being operated by a company that has served Israeli ports is sufficient enough for the Houthis or for Iran to seize the ship or interrupt its route. So there you have it right there. All ships, all vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz now need to take this into consideration. They should have already taken this into consideration because Israel and Iran have really bad relations and they're still at war, basically. I mean, it's a ceasefire, but the battle's over, but the war is not. So there's going to be another interruption of major confrontation again between these two and the US. So it's only a matter of time. But as of right now, for maritime stakeholders, what's fundamental here? You guys probably already know, so I'll just say this to those people that have less experience in the maritime industry. Risks are layered. You have a flag, for example, a flag of a ship. If it's flagged by Israel, if it carries an Israeli flag, that's right there a major risk. It's gonna get targeted, a very high probability, either by Iran or by Houthis. Let's say the flag is a Liberia flag or a Panamanian flag. These are very common flags for ships. A majority tend to be one of these. But let's say it's Panamanian flag, but the operator is a Greek company that serves at Israeli ports. That is, within its fleet, it has vessels that go and dock at Israeli ports, load and unload. It can be targeted because of that as well. And you need a bit more research done on that to figure out if any of the vessels from the fleet have docked at Israeli ports. But you can figure that out. You don't really need a big state intelligence body for that. And the third is an actual owner of the ship, the physical owner of the ship. If it's an individual or if it's a company. If it's an individual, what nationality does he have? He has Israeli nationality. That right there is another reason why the ship can get targeted. Well, it could be not only Israeli, it could be Iranian as well, because the US is having a counter blockade, it's carrying out a counter blockade in the Sea of Arabia with at least 12 guided missile destroyers and an aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, with at least 100 aircraft on it. It's ISR aircraft, intelligence, aircraft, fighters, fighter bombers, and support aircraft, support crews as well. So Iran's also facing this issue right here. This is what I wanted to say. Basically, the US and Iran tit for tat, targeting each other's ships. It's a very serious development because the Strait of Hormuz is not operating correctly. A third of world fertilizer passes through the Strait of Hormuz. About a third of LNG, maritime shipped LNG, passes through the Strait of Hormuz, and about 20 to 25% up to crude passes through the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to see serious interruptions in energy and major energy prices. The US and Iran don't seem to be able to be agreeing on any of the demands each one of them pointed out. US President Trump extended the ceasefire, interestingly, today. So at least that's a good sign. Stock market today isn't too bad. It was a lot worse a couple of weeks ago. But let's see how developments are going to be playing out.